Well, good morning. It's great to be here. My name is Chris Weber. I run Microsoft's mobile device sales. I've been at Microsoft now for 6 weeks, so maybe a little bit unfair that I'm here to describe the Microsoft mobile device strategy. In fairness, maybe that's not fair to you or to me, but in fairness, I was at Nokia the past 3.5 years running our global sales and marketing group, and before that I was at Microsoft for 16 years. So maybe that helps a little bit. But I really want to take and go through the strategy that Microsoft has around mobility, but maybe from a personal perspective. Because as I come into the company, I have an opportunity to sort of relearn Microsoft from a different perspective. So we'll talk about the strategy and maybe put my perspective on it from my previous years at Microsoft, which most of it was with you and enterprise customers. I ran the enterprise business for the US for Microsoft before I joined Nokia. But now coming from Nokia, which is more a consumer-oriented company, hopefully I can meld those two and give you a view of the strategy at Microsoft in terms of mobility. So I think the first thing is, the change that we see in the industry today, I think the pace of change is greater than we've ever seen before in terms of the things that are happening. I would say that transformation is the same at Microsoft. The things that Microsoft is undergoing to transform itself and really look, for the next 10 to 15 years, how we innovate on behalf of the industry. A lot of transformation happening. I think if you look back, let's just call it 10 to 15 years, and what's happened from then, you talk about the PC industry and you look at the, let's call it in the 2000 time frame, having 1 billion plus PCs connected around the world. We've seen an explosion of devices since then. Take smartphones and tablets, from 2000 on, the explosion of those to where you get to like 2008. And there was a moment in time here in 2008 where the number of connected devices exceeded the number of humans on the planet. And I think we're just starting the growth phase of this, or what I'll call hyper-growth, because if you look at the predictions over the next 10 to 15 years, it calls for the number of connected devices and form factors and those type things. I've seen estimates from 50 billion to the trillion number of devices here. So we're really just starting with the number of devices and form factors that will be connected in the world moving forward. If you look at that, so obviously we have more users, we have more devices, more applications, and I think it's very much what Dave talked about is this, I'll call it big data challenge or opportunity that we have. But certainly, how do you harness the power of that and the things that are there to drive new business value on behalf of your company or consumers? It really takes an infrastructure in the cloud to do that. And so I really think this is an opportunity to harness the vast amounts of data that's out there using this cloud infrastructure. Microsoft's strategy overall on this is really, and you've heard this earlier, is mobile first and cloud first. And it's really a symbiotic relationship between the mobility or the client side, because without that cloud infrastructure, those devices are really just an island by itself and somewhat contained. When you connect that to the cloud, and you say the same with the cloud, if the cloud existed by itself without the connected devices, it's somewhat on an island. So it's a very symbiotic relationship. And so we really believe in this cloud-first, mobile-first world. I think key on this one is this isn't just a Microsoft mobile world. And I think you're seeing that in the new, I'll call it transformation of Microsoft, is this is a cross-platform strategy. So it's not just an outlook. I'll talk about the first-party devices, and that's what I represent. But from a company perspective, you see cross-platform. If there's anything I'd want to emphasize, and you'll talk about it, whether that's the management of devices, security, applications, the support of it in the cloud infrastructure, it is cross-platform. And I don't think you have to look any further than the recent announcement that Microsoft made with Microsoft Office on the iPad. The number one app in the marketplace now for the iPad. I think this is a different Microsoft in terms of supporting this cross-platform world in this cloud-first, mobile-first world. Okay. This is probably the simplest slide that I have, but it's my favorite one. And as I think about coming into Microsoft, I say, what's unique in terms of our mobility strategy versus the other companies that are out there? And I think this is really Microsoft's heritage. And it's the fact that we really look after these three constituencies, the IT pros, the developers, and the users. Again, our heritage has really been how do we build the infrastructure and support and management and security to support IT professionals. At the same time, making sure we have the development tools, languages, et cetera, for applications. And then from an end user perspective, I think two things. Obviously, productivity has been our heritage, but also I think we have to think about the consumer side, because even as you saw in John's talk, a lot of the work and I'll call it digital work and digital life crosses. And I think Microsoft has unique ability and capability in this, in that they both focus on the consumer and the end user from a work perspective, from a productivity perspective. That's been the heritage of Microsoft, and I think you'll see that continue moving forward as we look at this thing called the modern workplace. And you can see the number of pillars here. I don't think any of these things in terms of what makes up a modern workplace, whether it's the dynamic nature of it, the explosion of devices, analytics, really being able to take this big data and turn it into insights, and then compliance and controls. I think the challenge, and you heard this from John, is how many organizations are prepared to really drive this modern workplace and take advantage of mobility in the enterprise. And I think we see some, I'll call it immaturity in this one in terms of people being ready from a systems perspective, platform, and cultural aspect to take advantage of this. And you can see some of this data here. I mean, I think some of the ones that are quite interesting to me are this number. This is probably more of a U.S. statement on the 10,000 new federal and industry regulations created just in the last 5 years. These are issues we're going to have to deal with. Compliance. This one sort of shocked me in terms of 93% employees admit to violating some type of compliance policy in there. I think what it really says is this is opportunity for us to take advantage of and really drive the modern workforce in a way that we haven't done before. In terms of the Microsoft strategy, I think there's 5 pillars that I'll talk about in terms of what makes our value proposition unique, which is around office productivity, the application environment, really being able to create a platform and tools to be able to build applications. I think the security and management piece I'll talk about, and then obviously having right devices. And I'll talk both about third-party devices as well as first-party devices that Microsoft's doing. But I think as John also talked, it's really underpinned by this always-on connectivity, and I would emphasize the value of things like 4G connectivity. I think this is really important as we look at this overall strategy that we would use with our partners. So the first pillar is this productivity. From my personal perspective, I think this one is really important. And I think sometimes we take this for granted and say, yes, we get the productivity piece. Let me give you an example of where I came from Nokia to Microsoft. And I've been here about 6 weeks. I will tell you, I don't know what the percentage is. I'll give you, I think I'm 20% more productive in the Microsoft infrastructure and productivity infrastructure than what we had at Nokia. And that's not to ding the Nokia IT people. But the advanced capabilities that Microsoft has there, and I'll give you some very clear examples. Just both of our companies, Nokia and Microsoft, use Office 365. I will tell you Microsoft's on the latest versions where we were behind a little bit at Nokia. The capability that I have within Office 365 within Microsoft is substantially different, and it has a huge benefit on me. The second one is data analytics, which I use quite a bit. We used at Nokia, we had a competitive platform. I won't mention the competitor. Here we're using the BI analytics and the SQL analytics that you heard about earlier. I will tell you the ability to take that big data and get insight, whether I'm online or offline, is 10x what I had in my previous experience. So I think this productivity story, it matters. And I'm a prime example of seeing where I think we had less than a modern infrastructure around productivity at my previous employer. And at Microsoft, it's been substantially upgraded. It has a real benefit on me personally there. And so I think this really matters when you think about productivity. This concept of universal apps, I think, is important in terms of the ability to write an app and have it run across multiple form factors, whether that's your phone, your tablet, your PC, and you could even put something like Xbox on the TV there. And we're really focused on this one, which is allowing a developer to build that and run it everywhere. So same programming tools, same security models, same management tools, et cetera. This is having a real impact. As an example, just on the Windows Phone platform, we have about 255,000 apps in the marketplace. So we've exponentially increased the number of apps. I think if you look up all Windows, what I call big Windows and Windows Phone, it's over 400,000 apps in the marketplace. But what we're seeing here is big applications taking advantage of this. We just announced, I believe it was last week, Salesforce.com, who is going to be writing an app and using this universal app infrastructure to build this app for phone, PC, tablet, etc. I think very important here. Barclays, who I believe is here today and might be on a panel later, they've built an amazing app using this infrastructure. It's one of the best rated or highest rated apps we have in the Windows marketplace. It's 5 stars. And you can compare it to its competitor in the competitor marketplaces. It's one of the highest rated apps we have in the marketplace. But this is a really important area for us to enable, because if we can take and give a developer more access using the same amount of time, I think that's a direct benefit for the developer and company involved there. On the device management, what we're really focused on here, and I will stress again, this is cross-platform. This isn't just about Windows devices, and I think this is the new Microsoft here, is I think historically what you've seen is PC management and mobile management as separate functions and separate tool sets. And what we're really trying to do is bring that together into one common set of tools and allow you to manage that across a common infrastructure there. Again, first party, when I say first party, Windows devices, whether that's third party or the devices we're doing at Microsoft directly, but also competing ecosystems. It's really important that we're providing a holistic solution there. Same thing with security. And what I would talk about here is from a management and security perspective, when you look at Windows 8.1 and then Windows Phone 8.1, a lot of the work that's been put in, and we're going to show you a demo in a little bit, is really about improving the management capabilities and security capabilities of the platform, which I think help all of us. And it's something certainly you've been asking for in the platform. And then in terms of just customers adopting Windows Phone, we just released our first products, the Lumia 630, which is the first one that runs Windows Phone 8.1. These are some of the companies in UK. What I will tell you, and these are our early adopters, so these are companies that have been brought on board even before we had the product released. What I would tell you here is the number of companies that have expressed interest or are evaluating or piloting, particularly with customers who are BlackBerry install base today, has gone up exponentially. And I think because there's a lot of things that we put in 8.1 around the security management that you were looking for. And I think with that now, we have a really compelling story around management security, the productivity, et cetera. I think this is a beginning list to see some of the companies that are moving in our direction. But I will tell you just the interest level, the momentum, the number of opportunities that we're pursuing in this area have gone up exponentially with the release of 8.1. I want to highlight one case study here, which is Delta Airlines in the US, which looked at a number of different competing platforms. They looked at both the tablet side of things for their pilots as well as their flight attendants for in-air service, and chose Surface for their pilots to use for logbooks, their pilot books, et cetera. And then for in-air service, using the Lumia 820, and they're also looking at some of our newer devices like the 1520. We'll have over 20,000 of those devices running our platform in the application here. And I think we have a little case study video that talks about what they're doing with the technology.
One of the things that is most important to me is how well we take care of our passengers. It's getting our customers where they want to go, when they want to be there, and always doing it safely.
At Delta, we fly more than 165 million customers a year on 3,500 daily flights to more than 60 countries around the world. We're connecting people to businesses, their families, and their friends. We continue to look for new opportunities to improve the travel experience for our customers and our 80,000 employees. That's why we partnered with Microsoft to develop technology innovations, the Fly Delta mobile app, Surface tablets in the cockpit, and Windows phones in the hands of our flight attendants for easy in-flight transactions.
Our old 38-pound flight bags have been replaced with Microsoft Surface devices. This allows pilots to better manage their flight by eliminating the need for paper charts, documents, and reference materials.
Reducing that 38 pounds really gets us a fuel savings of 1.2 million gallons of fuel per year. About 2,300 cars will not be driving because we're using the Surface tablet. Now that doesn't even include about 900 trees a year for all the paper we've been using to print all of our manuals.
Customers are at the center of our focus. My colleagues and I strive to ensure that our customers have a safe, comfortable, and enjoyable flight. With Windows phones and Microsoft Dynamics, we're able to process payments quickly, even while cruising at 500 miles per hour at 30,000 feet, a convenience that our passengers truly enjoy.
Our innovative use of technology and integration of Microsoft products into our fleet provides the personal service our customers expect and helps assure they can make it to their most important commitments, whether that be business, family, or friends.
So we have a lot more on the way as well. As I talked about, I think a lot of momentum in this, particularly with the 8.1 release, which addresses a number of the issues that you've asked for around security and management. I want to highlight a little bit, this is the job I do, which is sell devices for Microsoft. And so I want to highlight a little bit of this, and then we're going to do a demo. But on some of the devices, I'll show you some of the ones that we have just announced and released. This is the Lumia 630. This is the first Windows 8.1 device. It's one of the most affordable smartphones on the Windows Phone platform, quad core, 4.5-inch screen. Has Cortana, which you'll see a demo, etc. Really excited about the opportunity that this device can play. This replaces the Lumia 520, which, by the way, is the #1 selling smartphone in its price category globally. So we've had a lot of success with this. We're really excited about this one. 8.1, I won't steal the demo thunder there, but a lot of really good things in there. I've talked about the management, security, those type things, but also from an end user attractiveness, a lot of really good things in here. I'll tell you, my teenagers, I have a 14 and 16-year-old, and they basically call this the real iPhone 5C at a really attractive price point. Again, really beautiful device, and you'll see some of the demos on that. This is our high-end flagship, the Lumia 930. I think this is the best flagship we've ever come out with. Again, 5-inch high-definition screen. It has a 20-megapixel optic image stabilization camera, so one of the best cameras on the market. There's 4 directional mics in here, so from video recording, it's the best recording of any smartphone on the market. Has wireless charging built into it. In the UK, when we launch this, you'll see wireless charging automatically packaged in. So not only you get the wireless charging, but you get the charging pad itself. So really excited about this phone that we're going to be launching quite soon in the marketplace. And then on the, where am I at here? From a hardware perspective, I think there's a couple things on third party. Certainly small Windows tablet here, the Lenovo ThinkPad really has done well in the marketplace in terms of form factor. And then one of my favorites here is the Yoga, which is sort of the tablet, laptop, and you can twist it any which way you want to in terms of dimensions here, but a really great device for Windows 8.1. And then probably the one that I'm most excited about, and you could say, well, hey, you're the Microsoft guy, you're supposed to be excited about that, but it's the one that Michelle talked about, is the Surface Pro 3. I actually think this device is one of the most innovative devices in the last 10 years. I've been using it for about 3 months, the prototype on it. And I will tell you, I was a Windows laptop user. So I used an Acer Aspire S7, and I had an iPad. And I was a big iPad user. This device has eliminated me carrying 2 devices now, and so it's consolidated in one. So as Michelle talked about, it's a great tablet. It's as powerful as any laptop on the marketplace today, so you get great laptop in a very thin form factor. Obviously, then you get the tablet when you take off the snappable keyboard. And then a couple other things is the pen that Michelle talked about is phenomenal. And again, from a note-taking perspective, I used to bring paper and pencil. In fact, it wasn't paper and pencil. I used to use LiveScribe, which is a digital pen and paper. This has totally replaced that because the ability to click, get notes, put it in the cloud really has changed things. And then the other thing that this comes with is the kickstand, but you can have any dimension of the kickstand you want. So on the Surface 2, you had 2 different viewing angles. Here, you can put it at any angle you want. I really believe this is incredibly innovative. Can't wait for us to get it out in the market and for you to try it. But from my personal perspective over the last 3 months, it's the first device that has consolidated my ability to, instead of carrying a tablet and a laptop, carry a single device here. So very excited about what we're doing in the Surface product line. Okay. All right, so I'm almost out of time here. We saw yesterday, we did a town hall here with I'll call them the Nokia people coming in and the Microsoft team. And there's a gentleman named Brett Siddons who did a demo of really the ability across Windows Phone, tablet, PC, and Xbox. And I thought I really was able to sell the value proposition until I saw this demo, and he showed some things I had not seen before. So I said, hey, I'll hurry up in my slides. I think it would be very interesting for the customers to see this. Some of it is, I'll call it the productivity and enterprise stuff that we put into the platform, and some of it's the attractiveness for the end consumer. But I thought it'd be worthwhile for Brett to come up and show you some of the neat things that are in the product, both from a productivity perspective as well as end consumer. So with that, please welcome Brett Siddons.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Let me just plug my phone in. Get it on. Always the way at the start of tech. Okay, let me restart the phone. And we'll go again in a moment. So I could do an intro anyway on this while I restart this phone. So essentially, we all have like tons of devices now. Obviously, both in consumer world and in business world. And more often than not now, we are using the same devices. I know at home I just have, well, I don't know how many devices I do have, but the fact is that we just want them all to work. And that's what's the thing is really interesting for me. And what we're doing is essentially, yeah, we have a great range of devices, but it's what's happening behind the scenes in the cloud with Microsoft that is really, really compelling. So what I want to show you, we're going to go through a number of scenarios that all exist today. If this phone switches on. Here we go. Let's just plug this in. And we are on. Good. Whew. That would have been a bad demo otherwise. Okay. So we're going to talk around the phone. We will talk around a Surface Pro that I have here. And we will touch on Xbox. I've taken a lot of the stuff of Xbox out of it. But again, these are all the scenarios that exist today. The first thing is we want all of these things just to happen for us. And for me, that all starts with OneDrive and really the Microsoft account. And I do apologize, I'm going to have my back turned for you for most of this demo, and I'll try not to get in the way of the screens, but I'm sure that will happen as well. The easiest way for us to talk about that is with sync settings. So if I go into that, this is just stuff that happens. Everybody has the option to turn on or off any of these settings. And it means, again, that all of our devices will just talk to each other. That can be the start screen, how it looks and feels, and also updates that we've done on that over on the phone side mean that now when you upgrade your Windows phone, you just sign in with your Microsoft account, same on any tablet, and it will just automatically populate onto your device. You don't have to do anything. You'll get exactly the same experience that you've built up over time. That wasn't the case even a year or so ago. You'd go, which device have I done that on? It's completely different to this one. It was an absolute nightmare to manage. The apps list that you have can be installed automatically onto any device. And then more importantly, it's all that really annoying stuff like the web browsers, the favorites that you have, the tabs, passwords that you've put into those websites. They can automatically be populated across any device that you access. The list goes on. But if we go over to here and sort of show this visually, nice. We are on the right date and time, aren't we? Yeah, good. Is on your start screens. So this is, again, how phone and tablet and PCs are starting to come together. So if I go into settings in here, and we just change the start screen. If I wanted a different accent color in here, again, we have the ability to have all of our devices talking together. So our next device will then just change over, as will any of my others that I may have at home with me as well. So we'll talk about 8.1. We've had loads of announcements on 8.1 for phone, the 8.1 updates on Windows as well. We've essentially been listening to consumers and, of course, businesses. The amount of stuff that we've done there is just incredible. But if I take you through a couple of things that we have changed, one big thing to ask for is the Action Center. So the Action Center means, while we do have live tiles, that means you can just see the information served to you without going in and out of apps. You can now see everything in one place. All of the information that you have around your emails, apps, social feeds, etc., sits there. Of course, personalization goes one step further. That was an ask from the phones, is yes, I can make it mine, but how do we bring more life to the start screen? So, again, back in the starts and themes, you can see now we have the option for choosing picture. So if I go in there and we go to save pictures, I take a picture of my kids, and we'll put that in there, and we go back to the start screen, you'll see now how that completely customizes the experience for me on the phone. We also have changed completely the calendar view. The calendar now is much more easy to navigate. By pressing on the date, you're able to see, let me just go back on there. You're able to see all of your appointments easily. If I go into my budget planning meeting in here, I'm sure many of us, not that we'd want to admit it, but you've probably been traveling in the car, you've got a conference call to get onto, you have all of these dial-in details and conference IDs that you need to try and note down, and it's just impossible. We've built Link directly into the calendar now, so you can simply press Join Meeting. Join Meeting will take you into that Link meeting. As soon as you're in there, which again, the restart, you jump in. Obviously, I'm glad that no one else is in there at the moment. We would be able to go in, yeah, we can, to video call. If we needed to go onto a video conference, that would use the front-facing camera on the phone. Plus, you'd get loads of other options in here as well, as being able to invite others, send emails, of course, message as well. We'll just leave this conference for the moment. So collaboration is the heart of really everything that we do. We've talked about OneDrive. For me, as a consumer, the way that I also want to manage my life is in the People Hub. So the People Hub has started to change around as well. Yes, I have the feeds from Facebook, from Twitter, from LinkedIn. But what I also use in here is rooms. So I have a room here for myself and my wife. We can manage basically our lives, and it also means that I don't get in trouble when I agree with my mates that I want to meet them down at the pub on a weekend. So we have notes in here, we will have chat, we have calendar, we have photographs that only maybe we want to put, we don't want to put straight onto social networks, and we have OneNote. OneNote is an amazing tool. So within this one, we're putting in details around a trip that we want to go on. But over on another device, I should show you Smart Search. So Smart Search in here gives us the ability, powered through Bing, to not just search the web now. I want to search everything for it, whether it's the apps that I have, whether it is the internet, maps that I want to look at. It will serve up all the information that it thinks is relevant for me. You'll see photographs in here as well. That will be based either on folder name, it'll be based on visuals, recognition, or even text within those photographs. But you'll also see that we have a OneNote document. So within this, we have 3D mapping. So obviously, Nokia have an amazing heritage in maps. Also, we have Bing Maps. We're now collaborating here to go to really the next level. With these PPI, perceptive pixel screens from Microsoft, it gives us the ability to start to, one, look at the map, so where I'm going to go on my holiday, but now we can render this up into 3D. That means that, and I apologize for those over there that can't see this, we can move this around. Let's see if we can go in closer. There we go. So that's the hotel that I'm going to be staying at. There's my room just up there. So next, let's go over to Office. Now, Office on the phone, completely integrated, completely embedded in the OS, which means, and I'm sure we've all had it before, someone sent us a document, you can't find it, where did I get it? Was it on email? Was it still sitting on the share? Was it on my desktop? Within phone, because it's embedded, you can essentially get to it, whether it was on the phone, whether it was in email, you can find it straight away. So any opened attachments that you've had in email will automatically sit here. I have probably 1,000 odd emails that otherwise I'd have to trawl through. We obviously have personal OneDrive, and we have OneDrive for business, for Microsoft. You're also able to get access to all of the documents that you have opened over any period of time. That could range to even older. So if we went 3 weeks ago, I have the list of all the stuff here to be able to get to immediately. But let me go into OneDrive for Business. So if we open it on here, so I think a common scenario for all of us, let me just jump back, is we have a PowerPoint that we've been working on. Now, I've shared that out. I wanted someone else to be able to take a look at it. They have only got their phone with them, but they can open Office on the phone. So there, obviously, you would be able to see all of the notes, but you are able to edit the PowerPoint as well. So I could change, and in fact, let's drop back from here. Let's scroll over a couple of pages. So in here, I notice we're calling it Windows Phone Blue. That was obviously our code name. We don't want to talk that publicly. So let's put in 8.1 into there. And delete that. Oh, did I say 3181? Nice. We'll leave it at that. You'll see that I can't be fudging this demo in any way. And we could also move slides or hide slides as well, simply just by dragging them around. So let's go with that, and then back out. So it asks me if I want to save. That saves it back to the cloud. And then I'm getting ready for my presentation. So over here, we click this from OneDrive for Business, and it will open up. While that does so, let's go back to the start screen here. So another thing, you'll see it's completely changed around. We have our now Windows Phone 3181, which is nice. And in Office Remote, another feature that we have on the phone, we simply turn this on in here. And that means, because I am about to present to a nice audience, so I pick up my phone, and we go into Office Remote app. And that gives us the ability to be able to essentially select what's on screen on my PC. And now I have my presenter mouse, where I'll be able to see the slides that I have. We'll be able to click through. I get all of my notes in here as well. But I'd also be able to use a laser pen as well to be able to talk to the presentation. So lots and lots of cool stuff going on there in Office. So the next thing that I want to talk to is, and this is where we get the Xbox involved in this. So if we go over to Smart Glass. Smart Glass exists on any device. And it essentially now means that you don't need any more remotes. You're able to watch live TV through the Xbox as well, obviously movies, music, etc. But the one thing that I want to show on here is the ability to, one, use any device as to actually control the Xbox as we move through, but also what we then can do in terms of Internet Explorer. So say I had it on my PC. We now want to look at it on my nice big screen in the TV, in the lounge. So we go over to here. I can just about see the screen. And we type in BBC Football. So now I'm doing a search in here. Let's just click on the main one. Now I can use the touch interface to be able to go up and down on this screen. But you'll see also that I have it on the phone. And again, I could do it exactly the same. So we'd hit the remote. But you'll notice an Xbox icon down here. So my wife has come into the room. So reading up on the football results again. I want to watch a movie, please. So I can simply hit this button. That will pull the content off of the Xbox over onto my phone so I can continue to look whatever that I was. Let's just go back to home again on here. So the next thing I want to talk about is Smart Glass. So, sorry, not Smart Glass, it's Cortana. Now, most of you will have hopefully heard of Cortana. It's, again, been driven by all of the Bing technologies that we have, and it is the first truly personal assistant on any device. Obviously, there's Siri, there is Google Now. The huge differences for us with Cortana is that it will be able to, one, search the web, so it is web-based, but it will also be able to search across your device. So any email client will work on that. It works, and it will be able to search through apps, and more importantly, yes, it can do location-based searches, but people as well. So it pulls everything together for both your personal life and for business. It's incredibly compelling. It will be able to organize all of the meetings that you have, tell you when you need to leave in order to be able to get to your next meeting in time. And let's just jump into it so that I can show you a little bit of how it pulls all this stuff together. So first thing in the morning, Cortana will build a profile for me for the day. I'll be able to look at that as a glance. It will give me all the latest news that I would want to read. It will tell me when my first appointments are, tells me what the weather's like, etc. But if we go into the notebook, and this is, again, where it really differs from what we have from the competition. If you get that going, I need that in probably 1 minute. You have a notebook. So, yes, Cortana can start to build profiles on there. You'll see that within things like Places. So you can edit Cortana. You can see what it is building, the profile that's building up on you. You can edit that down. You can put new things in there as well. But it will also start to look at the places that you are. So, for instance, for home, it saw that I'd been sleeping in a certain location most nights. So it said, is this your home? Now, that can get you in trouble. So you should be careful, but you can edit it. And of course, work. Yeah, it sees that I work in Reading. It also starts to make notes of all the things, places that I've been, or maybe websites or meetings that I've had. So it makes everything much more useful for you. You'll see in here we have interests, so you can start to build up your interests so you can have the news served to you that you want. We then also have quiet hours. So in quiet hours, great tool, especially with most of us now have the same device across business and personal life. You can turn that on. Once you turn it on, you can allow people to be able to break through. So if there's an emergency, or if mostly your boss knows, then they know to just call twice in a couple of minutes, and they'll be able to break through that inner circle. And you can obviously edit the inner circle, so there's certain people that can still get through. Then we have reminders. Reminders have been so useful to me. I said location-based reminders, people-based reminders. It has actually made my relationship even better. As you'll see from the reminder that I've had in here, for the first time, I've started to tell my wife that I actually noticed that she's had her hair cut. And she's really impressed with that. So let's just do a reminder in here and how Cortana works. So the next time I talk to my boss, remind me to ask for a pay rise.
Next time you talk to Leila Martine, I'll remind you to ask for a pay rise. Is that right?
Yes. Great. So now I've got it in there as the reminder. I'm going to be reminded the next time I talk to my boss. So if I go into my email and I type up here Leila Martine, you'll see straight away that I get a reminder. Now, we say complete. What I should show you in here is also word flow. So we've increased the capabilities of an already great text system that we had. And I could write in here, so let's do it on this. So when is my end of year review? You'll see there that I'm simply swiping across the keyboard. And it's so incredibly fast and intuitive. You don't need to be accurate at all. And in fact, I'm starting to use my phone as my primary device to be able to send most of my messages now. So let's just send that. That's my softly approach to the pay rise piece. Lastly, talk just about pictures. Obviously, we have a huge heritage. Let me take one photograph as we're in here. Huge heritage from Nokia, the Carl Zeiss lenses that they have, amazing photography capabilities on all of our devices. But essentially, what we now have is the ability to be able to share these. Now, you'll see the sharing options are quite incredible on our phone. You'll be able to share it, whether it's through Bluetooth. We now have new apps that allow you to actually flick your pictures from one device to another, obviously straight into OneNote or into your email. But the reality is when you take a photograph, it can also automatically lift up into OneDrive, so that you don't, if you lost your phone, you don't lose the stuff that you actually have and care about. Also, on here, if we just go back and let me go into Smart Glass in there. So if we went into OneDrive in here, and we went to Pictures, Camera Roll, you'll see that we start to serve up, and there's the picture now that I've just taken, automatically available in the cloud. If I also go to OneDrive now on the Xbox, oh, I need to stand in front of it. Please, yeah. There we go. Recognised me. It's obviously thought that you were trying to control it, and it said, "You're not Brett Siddons." So if we go into albums, I do like to use my personal account, so please, any pictures that come up, please don't hold me accountable. So as we go in to Camera Roll in here, you'll see again all of those pictures. We can play a slideshow on the TV. We've got friends around. And then, if I want some music to that, I can say, Xbox, snap music. Now we have music that is all playing to my slideshow. We have all of the pictures that I've just been taking around the room, plus the one that I've just done, and it's all instant. It's all in the cloud, and it's all powered by our services to make it a seamless experience, both for consumers and for business. So with that, I think I'll invite Chris back up on stage, and thank you very much.
Good stuff, huh? Yeah, every time I watch Brett's demo, I learn, so I have some brushing up to do. So I really appreciate the opportunity to present our mobility strategy. Hopefully you see it's very comprehensive, from the infrastructure to the application, security management, and obviously then great devices and user experiences for the consumers. We hope you give us an opportunity to earn your business, and look forward to talking with you further. We're now going to do a customer panel, so I'll invite up John Jester and have him lead that panel. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris. Welcome back.